all of you, my name is Frank Caputo. They tell me I'm the chairman of the Transportation Commission in Bristol. And we've been working on some projects, and one of them which is to try to find out what the DOT provides for us in order to, use the transportation within the city. We went on a fast track tour, very nice. But we have with us today, I feel like I'm on TV, Danielle Herbert from the Department of Transportation to explain to us a variety of things that the DOT provides for us. And with that, I turn it over to you, Ms. Herbert.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We'll see if you applaud when I'm done. All right. So thank you, Frank, and to the Commission. I do appreciate you inviting me here on this beautiful, beautiful day. It's such a beautiful day. I drove with my windows open, and the best thing about it, the sky was blue, but the best thing was I changed from hot coffee to iced coffee today. So let me take a sip of that just because. So good. Okay. So I am from a program called Way to Go Connecticut, and I am actually not an employee of the Department of Transportation, but I am a program that is funded by the Federal Transit Administration working under the Department of Transportation. So I just wanted to clarify that. I actually work for an agency called, let's get that to work. Okay, it is called North Central Regional Mental Health Board, and I've been there 16 years this month. What we do is we evaluate state-funded mental health services. So we'll go into a place like Wheeler, maybe CMHA, Wheeler Clinic. We'll hold forums. We'll go and evaluate programs, speak to people receiving services, the providers, family members, town officials, clergy, police. We evaluate the program, whatever it may be. We write up a report, and we send it to the Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services, and they usually do take our recommendations and make changes in services and in the system. So how did the Regional Mental Health Board get into transportation? Well, we've been around for 40 years. We're state mandated, and throughout those 40 years, holding all these forums and writing all these reports, we have found that transportation is in the top 5 barriers for people. So went out and got this grant. As I told you, it's a 5-year program, but I know it's going to be ongoing. So I am in my 3rd year now, and it will be ongoing, I'm sure. I know that transportation is changing here in Connecticut. I'm going to tell you a lot of things about it, and your head might be spinning by the time I'm done. So my mission is to promote the coordination and marketing of all of the transportation options available in North Central Connecticut for older adults, persons with disabilities, and veterans. I've created a one-stop shop where individuals can find out about resources, and I am the ombudsman, so I can advocate on your behalf, as I said. Well, I wish I had a clicker. So I am the mobility manager and transportation ombudsman for North Central Connecticut. And if you would look up the job description, you would find a lot of different job descriptions because it's a new position really nationwide. You'd look it up, you'd find somebody working at the Verizon store selling cell phones, or somebody for shipping, major companies, global companies shipping. But that's not what it is for me. It is, for other people also, mobility managers, it could be making travel arrangements or the overall coordination of transportation between human service agencies and public transportation. What I feel it's about moving people, and not moving vehicles. It's about focusing on the individual's needs and cultivating partnerships with different agencies and providers by offering a single point of access, and which I have created through the website, and I'll show you these resource guides that I have, all about transportation. Accessible transportation, you know it is so important. Everybody is here for a reason, and it does touch every part of our lives. It touches all our lives because if we can't get out for just to socialize, it's a terrible thing. If we can't get to a human service agency, you can't get the services you need, and the providers can't provide the services they're supposed to provide for you. You're spending money. You can't get out and spend money, so it affects the economy. It affects educational institutions, and it affects if you can't get to a school. Healthcare, community services, as I said, it affects the community as a whole, and it does, if you do have accessible transportation, it does enhance people's self-esteem. If people are stuck at home, what does that do to you? You're just there, and it's not a great thing. So, as I said, I am the ombudsman for transportation in North Central Connecticut, and that means I will represent your interests and act as an advocate on your behalf when it comes to transportation, mobility needs, and issues. I get calls all the time, and I have relationships with all different providers. As I said, I get calls all the time because I have a call center that's open Monday through Friday. And it does have language line translators, so 200 languages, I think, something like that. Something ridiculous like that, I can get translators on the phone within a matter of minutes. And I have used the language line service many times for people who don't speak English. And I have a steering committee which does help me with program focus. And that committee is made up of people from all different realms of transportation. From Connecticut DOT, Connecticut Transit, Greater Hartford Transit District, the paratransit, the state of Connecticut, the Department of Social Services, Department of Aging, many different agencies, and they are all involved in this. And what I'm doing is doing a lot of outreach. So, like tonight, I'm here at a forum. I do a lot of outreach. I go to senior centers and housing authorities and homeless shelters, commissions, health fairs and senior fairs. I have my website. I go to support groups, and I have my resource guide, and as I said, the call center. I do cover the towns in North Central Connecticut. These towns all here, including your town of Bristol. This is being televised on Nutmeg TV tonight, and that station covers 8 different towns. So I'm going to be focusing on Bristol tonight, but a lot of this information can relate to the other towns, which are Avon, Burlington, New Britain, Canton, Farmington, Berlin, Bristol, of course, and Plainville. And those are the towns that Nutmeg TV goes to. And these are the 37 towns, as I said, that I do cover. And I just wanted to show you my website, waytogovat.org. I have the website up and running, and I've had over 68,000 hits on the website. It's used a lot. There's a lot of return rate on it. People come back and back for more information. Well, you go to the website, you click on the town, and it comes to, so if you click on Bristol, it goes to the Bristol page. So the home page, it has all the towns listed, all those towns I just showed you. You click on the town of Bristol, and it brings up a page with all of the options. These options, like Connecticut Transit, will give you links to all the bus routes, and it does show you all the options. BCO, I know there's a representative here from BCO, Bristol Community Org, and then all the other transportation providers. That information is updated on a monthly basis. Now, I will leave you tonight with a resource guide that was updated this week. But the best thing to do, now does anyone here use computers? Have internet access? That's, really going to the website is the way to go. The way to go. But I will leave you with this book. So when you get this book, you'll see the information is listed by provider, the area served, the type of service, the website, and then additional information. There's links to all of the different websites There's links if you go onto for Connecticut Transit or CT Fast Track, as I said. There's all schedules linked, hyperlinked to that as well. So you can get to many different places that only have to do with transportation. And I will leave you with this book in a little bit. But here it is. I also wanted to let you know that I am not the only mobility manager in the state. So I told you I cover the 37 towns in north central Connecticut. There are other mobility managers. In south central Connecticut, from Middletown down, from Cromwell down, there's No How to Go South Central Connecticut. Down in the Bridgeport area, there's No How to Go. And the eastern part of the state, there's the Eastern Connecticut Transportation Consortium. We all work together along with the mobility manager for the VA. And so if you know somebody from those areas, I can put you in contact with them. You can get to their website from my website. We talk every day, all of us mobility managers. And I just wanted to let you know there is one area of the state that is not covered yet, and that is the northwest corner of the state. There's really no transportation there at all. It's all dial-a-ride, municipal-based or pay-based, basically. Maybe not emergency, Medicaid transportation, but really that's it. So it hasn't been a priority to cover that area. Yes, yes. So I also wanted to let you know I have these touchscreen kiosks in different areas, and I have these at basically local mental health authorities right now. It's going at Greater Hartford Transit District, at Union Station in Hartford. This kiosk has all of the program information on it. It's basically the website connected to a printer so people can print up any information that they want. There are instructional videos on how to ride the bus, how to read a schedule, you name it. Anything that they need, there's on that. It's on the kiosk and on the website. And right now I do have it. CHR in Manchester, Chrysalis Center in Hartford, and Intercommunity East Hartford. They're all east of the river. It's going in, as I said, into Hartford, the Union Station, but then I'm trying to get some over here west of the river. So in the next few months, that will happen. So I know you all want to know about transportation now, right? Right? Okay. So I'm going to go over all of the transportation that I know, and I know more than probably anyone. Okay, so we have Connecticut Transit, okay? Connecticut Transit is the public transportation system. And in Bristol, they have 5 different routes which connect to the CT Fast Track. I wanted to let you know that all of the buses have wheelchair lifts or ramps. They all have bike racks. They have Wi-Fi on the Connecticut Transit bus, on the CT Fast Track buses and the express buses. The vehicles are all being equipped with GPS. Now, all the Fast Track buses are. Meaning you can find out from your phone, and I'll talk about that in a second, where those buses are exactly. And all of the GPS will be installed in this area by the summer of 2016, by this summer. You can use Google Transit Trip Planner to figure out things, or this other app I'll talk about. And I wanted to talk to you about a reduced fare program. So it's half-price fare for older adults and persons with disabilities. Now you can use your Medicare card, your red, white, and blue card, which has your Social Security number on it. Maybe you don't want to carry that around. Or I have applications over on the resource table, so you can get a half-price card. That card does cost $6, but after 5 years, after 5 rides, it's paid for and it's good for life. So the regular fare is $1.50, but with half price, it would be 75 cents. And this is a map of the service area for your area. Now, it connects, I know you don't think you have a lot of transportation, and you don't, because over here there's more. But it does, they are making a system where everything is going to be connecting, and connecting a lot better. So I'll keep talking and let you know. One more thing is I wanted to mention the kind of buses that are around. So you have coming through town the express bus, and those are long blue buses with red letters saying express. Regular Connecticut Transit buses are blue, and then the CT Fast Tracks, when you get on the Fast Track, they're big long buses, articulated buses, and you've probably noticed these little buses driving through your town that say CT Fast Track. Why does it say CT Fast Track? Because it's not on the CT Fast Track. Well, it's on the CT Fast Track because it connects to the CT Fast Track. So the CT Fast Track is a bus rapid transit system. So it is a road just for buses, okay? A dedicated road just for buses. Now think of it like the T in Boston, or a subway train, or let's say the T in Boston, the T, right? Going through Worcester, going up through Boston, right? This road, it does make stops in Bristol. It connects to the CT Fast Track station. Waterbury, now from Waterbury, there's a start point. That connects to Metro North, so you can get to New York City on Metro North. Cheshire and Southington, and then it has all these stops along the way. All these stops, so if you think, and it goes right into Hartford. All these stops, well, if you think of this as your rib, I'm sorry, as your spine, and you think of these stations all along here as your ribs, the plans are to utilize those stations to have circulator lines. So you see the green little buses, CT Fast Track buses riding around. That's a circulator line. And they're going to be creating more. Now, CT Fast Track is extremely popular. I will tell you about it. They're so popular, they're going to be having a CT Fast Track service, CT Fast Track East, which is going to be starting this summer as well. And it's going to go all the way up to Yukon in stores. It will make stops along the way. Now, they're not building a road, because CT Fast Track was actually 17 years in the making. The first meeting happened, well, maybe 18 years now. It's 18 years ago. And CT Fast Track is just a little over a year old now. But right now, they do go to Manchester Community College, and I'm actually going to show you a little video on it.
Experience CT Fast Track, the Hartford Region's bus rapid transit system. Opened in March 2015, the core of the system features 10 state-of-the-art transit stations connected by a traffic-free, bus-only roadway. CT Fast Track is a major enhancement to public transportation in the region. Frequent local service is provided on green CT Fast Track buses. During peak hours, local service operates approximately every 7 minutes, and service hours extend almost 21 hours a day. CT Fast Track is designed for speed and convenience. Station platforms are at door height for level boarding. Wheelchair users and bicyclists can simply roll on. Fares are paid before boarding, so there is no waiting at the fare box when buses arrive. Stations have electronic signs that show when buses are arriving, and this information is even available on your smartphone through Google Maps and other applications. Downtown New Britain Station is convenient to parking garages and the local bus hub. It's also accessed by express buses, using a dedicated off-ramp directly into the station from Route 72. Expresses from Bristol, Southington, Cheshire, and Waterbury only stop here before bypassing busy I-84 directly to downtown Hartford. There are 2 stations within walking distance to Central Connecticut State University, and students, faculty, and staff can take advantage of a car-free alternative to and from the school. Additional service is provided by smaller buses that connect nearby communities to stations, and a 4.5-mile trail runs alongside CT Fast Track from New Britain to Newington for walkers, runners, and bikers. As buses approach Hartford, they depart the CT Fast Track roadway and circulate through downtown for easy access to employers, businesses, state offices, and cultural attractions. Some CT Fast Track routes continue through Hartford to destinations east of the Connecticut River. The CT Fast Track system of routes and stations has been designed and built to enhance mobility for residents and visitors, and to support economic development throughout the region.
Okay, so as I was telling you, those circulator lines, they do go to many different places right now, and they're just going to be expanding. So it does go to downtown Hartford, of course, and it goes, from New Britain to Hartford. Now you can do an express. You can go, as they said, to Yukon Health Center, St. Francis Hospital, Hartford Hospital, the train station in Hartford, Union Station, goes to MCC, goes from Wethersfield to Newington, and it will, you can get on the fast track there. It goes through West Hartford to West Hartford Center, all the way to Capaco and Bloomfield, makes a stop at Cigna, the Cigna campus. CCSU, I'm not sure if I said that. And I think I said everything right now. And just quickly, I wanted to let you know, if you ever do use the CT Fast Track and you keep your ticket, there are many, many merchants that are around the station that will give you discounts with your tickets. So always go online. You can always go online and find out what those discounts are. I wanted to give you a one-year report card on what's going on with them. So they did celebrate their millionth rider in September of 2015, and it's between 12,000 and 16,000 riders per day. They have surpassed their 2030 totals. It is very, very popular. It does employ more than 200 employees, and they are adding additional parking spaces. They're working on parking all the time. So these spaces are in Elmwood in West Hartford, but even here in Bristol, they've been working on getting spaces. So they do want to be closer to downtown and Route 6, Connecticut Transit. They have worked for more than a year with property owners in Bristol. And they were offered one lot, and then whoever offered the lot decided they wanted to offer them another lot. And then they said they didn't want to lease anything to DOT. So they've looked around at churches and halls and all around, but they really can't find anything right now. If anyone ever has a suggestion, they're open to that. They've had recent discussions with the city concerning the use of the Renaissance, but it's too early to tell what's going to happen with that. Right now, there are a couple of commuter lots on Lake Street and Todd Street, but they're trying. Oh, wanted to let you know, this Sunday, CT Fast Track, it's their second annual, because there's the Hartford Marathon, where they're doing a 5K and relay race. So there is a multi-use trail that's connected to right next to the CT Fast Track that you can ride your bike, you can jog, or just take a walk. And they have service to Rensselaer Field in East Hartford. So during the football games, people can get on the fast track and get to the game and be dropped off, don't have to worry about parking. Now, there are things that are changing in transportation. I'm going to keep talking about it. But I've been told my entire life the squeaky wheel gets the grease, right? You've heard that before? And it does. It does. Connecticut Department of Transportation is going to be conducting, in the next couple of weeks, I think it should be opening, it's called the Connecticut Bus Study. Now, the last time they did a bus study was in the year 2000, and this is a statewide study. And they are going to focus on fixed route and intercity services. And they are going to analyze the highest and lowest performing routes to include data on gaps and barriers, performance, ease of use, accessibility. So they are planning on an expansion of 25% from this study in urban areas. So they potentially want people in urban areas to have a bus route that is within a half a mile of your home. That's what their goal is. So that's what this study's going to do. They are going to be hosting an interactive virtual meeting, which will be posted on their website for a couple of weeks. It hasn't opened yet, and it's going to be it's ctbusstudy.com. And I do have slides of this presentation that we'll hand out along with this resource guide, so you can refer back to it if you want. But really, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. It does. I know it. So one more thing that's happening, another exciting thing, is CT Rail. Now, CT Rail is a commuter train service. So think of it like the T, right? All right, so it's existing Amtrak track. They've added to it. They've taken existing stations and updated them. They're doing that now. They've built new stations. So it's going to start, we could say it starts in Hartford, but we'll say it starts in New Haven. And you can get on to the train down, because it will be at Union Station down there. So you can get onto Metro North down there. And then it will have all these stops along the way. It will stop in Hartford. It will stop at the CT Fast Track. It will stop in Hartford at Union Station. It will stop in Windsor Locks. And from Windsor Locks, there will be a shuttle to the airport. Once again, if you think of this as your spine and these stations as your ribs, in the future, everything is going to be interconnected. That is their plan. So they are really working diligently. I work with these people, and I have to say, they want to make a better system for everybody. I just want to mention something else. Public transportation in every city, in every state in the country, it is a public service, okay? And in every city, in every state in the country, they don't make money. They lose money, including Connecticut DOT, or CT Transit, because it is a public service. They are doing this study to find out what usage is and what people need. So I do ask you, if you want changes, that is one way for changes, because they really are looking for this information. Now, this is going to be opening January 2018. They say there are not going to be any delays. That is the date. They promise that date. But when it does open, they expect to do, I think initially, I might be saying something wrong, but I think initially they're doing 12 round trips a day up to 24 round trips. And I'm actually going to take a little look. They're going to total 17 round trips a day. Okay, so I was wrong. Now, all these public transportation, and I promise you I'll get to other transportation too, but all these public transportation options, these trips, you can find out how to get to where you need to go from, if you use a computer, Google Transit Trip Planner. You can call Connecticut Transit. They have people dedicated, a phone line just to help you plan your trip. Or if you use a smartphone, there's an app. It's called the Transit app. This app will tell you on CT Fast Track, and because the other buses are being equipped with GPS, exactly where those buses are. You will be able to see if you missed your bus or if it's coming in 5 minutes, which is a great thing. I think it's a great thing. Now, because everything doesn't stay on schedule. Dan, he came here tonight a little late, but because there was an accident in traffic, and of course that happens with public transportation, paratransit transportation. I mean, everybody's affected by that. So if you do use a smartphone and you do want to use public transportation, I do suggest that you download this app. There are other apps and websites that you can plan trips. You can plan trips worldwide with Rome to Rio. Find out all about transportation options, or Wander You or Roadify as well. Now, say you don't want to take public transportation because you're apprehensive, you haven't taken it ever, or you took it 30 years ago, you don't know how to get to where you want to go. I wanted to let you know about a program from the Kennedy Center. It's called Travel Training. This is a nationally acclaimed program, and they actually go and train other states on travel training. So what this is it's a free program. They will meet you at the bus stop and take you on the route that you need to go as many times as it takes for you to feel comfortable in taking that route. They will, once you're finished with that route and you want to learn a new route, they'll take you on the next route as many times as it takes for you to feel comfortable. It's free, but all they do is they ask for you to pay for your fare. I can also set up, so I can set that up for you. I can also set up group travel trainings, which I've done many times. So if there's a group that wants to go, a senior center, we go down to the Athenaeum in Hartford, down to over to the West Farms Mall, and it's pretty good. It's a fun time. And then you get to go on the CT Fast Track, too. Wanted to talk to you about paratransit transportation. So, used to be here in Bristol, CCRPA handled the paratransit transportation. But it was taken over January 2015 by Greater Hartford Transit District, which is a good thing because you don't have to change rides now. So change if you leave their service area. It's just expanded. So say there's a reason you cannot take public transportation. You have a physical disability or a seizure disorder or a mental health disability, or you just can't walk. You just can't do it. You can't stand there and wait for the bus to come to walk to the bus. Well, if you live within 3/4 of a mile of a fixed bus route, they will come to your house and pick you up. But you can still apply for it. If you don't live within 3/4 of a mile, you can still apply for it. They just won't come to your house. So they run the same hours as the bus. So if the 541 runs from 6 in the morning till 10 at night here, that's when paratransit service is going to run. It is on a reservation basis, and it is a shared ride. So sometimes they might have to pick up somebody along the way. But they do help you into the vehicle and in and out of the vehicle. And if that's your only option, I mean, it is a good option. They are working hard over there to make things better because technology is making it better with programming so they can schedule rides more, what's the word I'm looking for? Efficiently, that's the word I'm looking for. Everything's is equipped with GPS, and they are working. But I wanted to let you know that those rides are double the price of the bus. So I told you the bus is $1.50. If you get the senior and disabled pass or use your Medicare card, you can get it for 75 cents, but the regular fare is $1.50. If you use paratransit service, the regular fare is $3. It's always twice the amount of the regular bus fare. Now, you can get it as low as $2.40 if you buy a 10-ticket book. But this is the areas, the towns they cover. All these lines here, the blue lines are you, if you can see that. As I said, they run 3/4 of a mile on each side of those routes. Now, if a route changes here in town, the paratransit, sometimes they grandfather you in, but paratransit does move with that. It does expand with that. If they do change the line, as I said, you can call and a lot of times get them to grandfather you in, which they'll do. I actually want to read to you the towns that they cover. Okay, so they cover all of East Hartford and Hartford, and then portions of Avon, Berlin, Bloomfield, Bristol, Cromwell, Ellington, Farmington, Glastonbury, Kensington, Manchester, Meriden, Middletown, New Britain, Newington, Plainville, Rocky Hill, South Windsor, Tolland, Vernon, West Hartford, Wethersfield, Windsor, and Windsor Locks. It's a lot of towns. But you can transfer to other paratransit services. So say you go to, let's pick a town here, Middletown. You take paratransit, you go over to Middletown. That's where Greater Hartford Transit District service ends. Then they would arrange with the Middletown Transit to pick you up at a location. So maybe they'll drop you off at a Dunkin' Donuts and you'll wait for your next ride. You can get around to many, many places, but it requires a transfer. But those are a lot of towns. There's another thing that they don't have here in Bristol, but in many towns they have. It's a taxi voucher program. And what that is it's with Yellow Cab, which does not come here. So if Yellow Cab would come here, but it does run other towns, and Executive 2000, they will give you half-price taxi fare. So some of the towns in Nutmeg TV area, they do go to, but because Yellow Cab doesn't come here, they don't have that service. Got to get Yellow Cab here. So, wanted to talk to you about Dial-A-Ride. Dial-A-Ride. Nothing? Come on, I think that's funny. I get nothing. I get nothing. I got a big giggle out of it. I'm sorry. Okay. Oh, it's hard to see? Okay. So, Dial-A-Ride. Every town, or just about every town, municipality, has some type of transportation. Every town in my area does. And in this town, it's BCO. And they do have wheelchair-accessible Dial-A-Ride services for people 55 or older, or people on Social Security disability. And you can tell me if I say anything wrong, because I hear you're the guy. All right, so transportation to Bristol residents to and from doctor's appointments, shopping, personal care appointments, banking, hairdressers, local senior centers. And they run from 9:45, the first pickup, to 1:45, Monday through Friday. I think, right? Monday through Friday, did I get that right? And the return trip anytime until 3 p.m. Then they do have senior center pickups, Monday through Thursday at 1 and Friday at 1 and 3. They do have an annual fee of $50, but they will waive it with your Connect card. Anybody here use that? Yeah? Does anyone use a paratransit service? No one? Okay. Bristol Hospital has emergency medical services, and this you would have to call to get a price. It might be subcontracted out through non-emergency medical transportation and not cost you anything, but they do have a non-emergency ambulance transportation for those who can't get out of bed, who are, have problems with mobility. They do have a wheelchair van, and they'll take you to doctor's visits, physical therapy, dialysis appointments, things like that. Medicaid transportation, it's called non-emergency medical transportation, and the provider in the state is Logisticare. So if you are on Medicaid, the state will provide transportation for you for free to doctor's appointments. You have to call 2 business days in advance, but if there's some type of emergency that your doctor wants you in, the doctor can call in and make arrangements for same-day service. I want to let you know that there's probably, I don't know if anyone's on Medicaid or knows somebody who's on Medicaid and has had problems with non-emergency medical transportation, because many, many people have. But what I want to tell you is things are changing. First of all, about a year ago, so Logisticare is the provider, and they subcontract out to cab companies, to subcontractors. And this is the way they do it in Connecticut. In no other state where the Logistic Care runs the non-emergency medical transportation is it set up like in Connecticut. And there has been problems with no-shows, with drivers being late, with many different issues. And with getting on the phone with Logistic Care, with hold times and wait times. And oh my God, I've heard so many really terrible complaints about it. So I do meet with them on a regular basis. Other organizations meet with them on a regular basis. Commissions, public health. My goodness, they are under scrutiny. And I want to let you know, because of that, the squeaky wheel gets the grease, right? Because of that, changes have been made and are being made. Now, my God, I can't remember. Could be like they do 2 million rides a month, and I think I'm pretty accurate. They used to get 800 complaints a month. Now, believe me, a lot of people didn't call and complain. 800 people did. A lot of people just were like, oh, I'm not going to call. But now, in the last 6 months, it's gone down to 400 complaints a month. They are working because people have complained, and people on commissions, and they're working to make it a better system. They're getting much easier to work with. They brought in a new director down in North Haven from the Logistic Care headquarters in Georgia. He's really working hard. He'll even give providers his personal cell phone number. Says, call me 24/7. I will I will help you. He doesn't get calls in the middle of the night. But, yes.
Yeah, I've heard in some locations Logistic Care will take people grocery shopping. Do you know anything about that?
No, I don't. I've never heard of Logistic Care taking people grocery shopping. Is that a reliable?
Yeah, the woman who used to run the senior center in Bristol is in Merritt, and she said that all the time there would be people going to the grocery store in cabs using Title I Logistic Care.
Well, this is not emergency medical transportation, but I've never heard of that before, but I'm going to find out about that. Yes?
I heard one of the biggest complaints with them was they picked somebody up, and on the way he stopped and picked up somebody else.
Well, exactly. That's what happens. It is a shared ride, just like paratransit is a shared ride.
He was telling they were telling people they weren't picking up anybody, they stopped and picking up somebody.
Well, they might have gotten a call or on their GPS system or whatever saying you have to go pick up somebody. See, the thing is, they're trying to maximize the vehicle usage and the driver's time, and it is a shared ride. And sometimes, oh yeah, so he's saying it does make people angry, and it does. You have to understand, though, it's a shared ride. As I said, just like paratransit or taking public transportation, it is a shared ride, and there are stops along the way. Yes?
People say that it'll bring me to the doctor's office, that it won't bring me to someplace else. For example, healthcare is not the same as you go to your doctor's office and they'll treat you. You go to clinics, you go to other healthcare facilities, you're going to see an APRN, you're going to see a PA. Will it still take care of you as long as you're going there?
It should.
Some type of therapeutic treatment.
Yes, it should. If there is a problem, so as I said, I'm the ombudsman. You call me. I have a direct line to the top guy there. And he does take every call from me seriously and looks into it. Now, if you do have a complaint about Logistic Care or any of the other providers, my advice to you is to get as much information as you possibly can, dates, times, names. Get that information, and they don't want to know about just a vague complaint. They can't do anything about a vague complaint. So get as much detail as you can. Yes? You want to talk in here?
I have no questions.
Okay.
From the senior center, I think they need service. You said they're going to do a study on whether people get on or use their service or not. But consider, in the senior center, they may or may not need it. My husband has had cancer, and again, he's going to be sick. He's sick, and he'll be going in for more. He has a serious problem. So I'll be needing service in the future. Don't judge it on the current status at a senior center. whether one or two people get on it daily, because that's flexible. Okay, that's number one. Number two, Connecticut Fast Track is great, but you can't get from New Britain back to Bristol. That's number two. And most of all, you have an excellent express bus going back and forth. I took it, but I had to take it, and I found it by accident. From New Britain, I went down to Waterbury Mall. Fantastic. But when they returned, they stopped at Cheshire. They stopped at Southington, and they bypass us and go
Okay.
down to New Britain.
I understand. You're throwing a lot at me. So first thing you were talking about was your husband?
Yeah, past that,
All right, past that. All right, the second thing was
at the senior center.
the senior center?
You said they're going to do a study on...
No, not the senior center. The Connecticut Department of Transportation is doing a whole system-wide public transportation study to expand service by 25% in urban areas.
Didn't you say they were going to make a study on how many people use it?
Well, they do have bean counters out there on those buses all the time. That's something that they do they do audits on a regular basis. So if people are using the bus, I mean, it is a public service, it is a loss for the state, but they have this public service. So they're at a loss, but they're not going to take the loss, the worst loss. They're going to take a smaller loss.
Right by the center, how far is that lost on the driveway?
Well, call me, and I'll get specifics from you, and I'll give a call to DOT.
Okay,
That's what I,
all right, down for the express bus, for them to come down to the public parking lot.
I'm going to have you speak into
All right,
this.
For the public, for the express bus that goes from 84 down to the public parking lot in Bristol, it's exactly 4 miles, I clocked it for you, okay? So what would be the additional loss or cost to come off the highway to service Bristol? Bristol seems to be bypassed in consideration.
Okay.
It's bypassed there, it's bypassed when we try to get back using Connecticut Fast Track, and that's all I was just saying.
Okay, that's fine. And absolutely. Now, I will, take your comments, and I will give that to DOT. Once again, that there is that study and that town hall virtual meeting, and that people can really voice their opinions. I do myself have a public transportation user survey that I share with the Connecticut Department of Transportation. I just closed it out, so I don't have one for you to fill out today. But really, I mean, just call me. I'll voice your concerns on your behalf. And they really are, I mean, I hope you understand, I'm not making any of this up. They really are trying to make it a better system. So they do want to hear from you. But they,
You just did it.
and I'm happy. Thank you. So,
I hope you react to it, though.
well, I am.
Oh, okay. Good enough.
Okay. Thank you. Can I have you speak in the mic, just because, no? Okay.
I just want to know where I can go and get my photo ID done. Somebody told me I can go to AAA. Can you go there or no?
Oh, I don't know about that. If you're talking about for the pass for the half-price fare,
No, I'm talking about for your photo ID.
My ID right there.
I don't drive, but I just
What's
need a photo ID to, cash my check.
oh, I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't. But let me just say, DMV?
You have to go all the way to DMV.
Oh, that type of photo ID, I'm sorry. Okay. Oh, can you go to AAA? Okay, you can go to AAA.
What if you're not a member and you're just want to get your
I don't know.
photo ID
that, I
done?
don't know. I don't know if
No,
the
you don't have to be a
directions
member.
are. I don't know.
Oh, you don't have to be a member. Let me mention to you, if you are ever interested in utilizing the half-price fare, they do want a picture of you. You can take any picture you want. You can have a picture, cut it out with you and a group of people. They'll take your picture and put it on the card. It doesn't have to be a professional, photographer or, taking a picture of you. So, yeah, you could just send in anything. So, there are alternate transportation providers, okay? Now, I'm going to talk about them, and you're not going to probably want what you have to have in order to get these rides, but this is what is available in this area. If you have ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, the ALS Association will bring you to treatment. If you have cancer, the American Cancer Society will bring you for treatment from their Road to Recovery program. If you have AIDS, Connecticut AIDS, and Latino Community Services will bring you for treatment for HIV or AIDS-related illnesses. There are a couple of others. So if you're a veteran, disabled, and you receive services at the VA, Disabled American Veterans is a volunteer service that will pick you up and take you to the VA. Once you get to the VA in Newington, there's a whole transportation system that they have, a nationwide transportation system. I mean, they all connect. But they do have transportation to take you down to the shore, to the West Haven VA. Say you have to receive a certain type of treatment at the VA in Poughkeepsie, you can transfer. It might be a long trip, but they'll take you there. They'll take you to many places. But that is all free transportation. There is a paid transportation called Seniors Helping Seniors in this area, where they will pick you up if you need help in a pinch and take you to where you need to go. ITN Central Connecticut, I might have on there ITN Central Connecticut might not cover this area, but it does cover the other areas in the towns that are possibly going to hear this on Nutmeg TV. So what that is a nonprofit agency. It's a volunteer driving service, and it's for older adults and people with vision impairments. And these volunteers will pick you up at your home. It's arm-to-arm and door-to-door service. Okay, so they will go to your door and get you and take you where you need to go. There is a small fee, there is a fee for it. They run 24/7. If you are driving now, you can volunteer your time to bank hours. So in the future, when you're not driving, they will take you where you need to go for free. You can donate your vehicle and bank hours with them as well. Senior Job Bank, they are located in West Hartford, but they cover many towns. So what that is a database of older adults who they're retired maybe, and they want to do some work. Maybe they want to answer phones for somebody or do typing or babysit, or maybe they want to drive. So they put their name on this database, and you call them, Senior Job Bank, and say, I need somebody to give me a ride, and they'll give you a list of people in your area, and then you would call that person, and you would negotiate your rate with that person. Both services, once the person is driving, well, ITN definitely, they get $1 million, I think, umbrella policy on it. And Senior Job Bank, they all do have to be insured, and I think as well they do get supplemental insurance when they're driving for the Senior Job Bank. And then there's always religious organizations. So I suggest if you're really in a pickle, you don't have somebody to take you where you need to go, and if you belong to a church or a temple or a kiosk, there are always people that want to volunteer, and they go to the offices and, their office of the church or the temple, and they say, I want to volunteer, what can I do? And so call them and say, is there anybody there who can take me? And I have told this, especially to people in rural areas, just call, and people call me back, and I'm like, oh my God, I got a ride, that's so great. So it's a suggestion. I say, people have good hearts and they want to help, and call them. And then, of course, there's private pay. Now, rideshare. Rideshare means you're sharing a ride with one or more people. So there are numerous websites to find people in your area that might be going one day a week or every day. Maybe you want to get a job somewhere, say in Hartford. There could be somebody in Bristol that you could share a ride with, that they could drive you in back and forth to Hartford. CT Rides has a lot of information on it. They do have a guaranteed ride home. So say you do use this carpooling service, it's less than driving, it's less than taking your own car and parking. But say you have to leave, say somebody's sick at home, you have to get home. They have a free guaranteed ride home. So somebody will come get you and bring you home. So you're not stuck where if, say, you're in Hartford. They will take care of you on that. They'll give you incentives. So there's a program, New Ride, that's with CT Ride. And you bank points with them, and you get, a lot of good things. They change all that information on a regular basis. But if you're interested, we can look that up for you. Rail and bus service. So I just want to let you know, not all train stations are mobility device accessible, but the CT Rail is all going to be. They're updating all those stations. So in the future, they will be. All these stations do have Braille. And oops, you know what I forgot? So I'm going to give you a resource guide, but I wanted to let you know that my resource guide is available in Braille. And in addition to that, which I didn't mention, my resource guide is available in Spanish and in Polish. The website, I told you my call center is translatable, but the website is translatable into 80 languages. So if you don't speak English, you still can find out that information. So the train stations do have Braille. And they will give you, if you call ahead, they'll give you assistance at the station. They'll help you get on and off the train, help you with your luggage, and they will give you reduced fares. So if you call and you say you're a veteran or you're an older adult or if you have a person with a disability, call, make your reservations, let them know. They will give you discounts up to 20%. And there are, for the train, of course, it's Amtrak or Metro North, and the regular bus is Peter Pan, Greyhound, DATCO or Megabus. There are buses that go to the casino, Joshua's Limousine, and as I told you, the CT Rail will be coming January 2018. If you still are driving, I wanted to mention the AARP Safe Driving course. So that is for people 50 and older. They go to all the senior centers all the time. So AARP does, and so does AAA. You can take these courses online. They do charge you $15 or $20 if you're not a member, but it's a good refresher course, and you get up to 20%, depending upon your insurance carrier. You'll get 20%, up to 20% discount on your auto insurance. And if you know somebody who's still driving and you feel that they shouldn't be, there are driver assessment programs here in the state. So there's one at Easter Seals in Meriden. There's one at the McLean in Simsbury. What that is they will assess your ability to drive. They will give you an honest assessment. They will test you. So maybe you have a grandparent or someone who really, when my father passed away when he was 94, he was driving when he was 90. We could not get those keys away from him. And I remember my friends calling me and saying, your father was in the parking lot. Tell him, get those keys away from him. Get those keys, I remember hearing that. It was difficult to get them away from him, but we did. And maybe if we would have had him, it would have been easier if we would have had his skills assessed by a professional, and because he could have hurt himself or others. So I wanted to talk about, I know CERT's meeting next door, but there is, not in this town, but I hear that they are planning, in the planning stages in Bristol. It is a special needs directory for disaster assistance. Okay, so it's a volunteer list that's held by the town. And it could be held by the fire department or the senior center or human services. It's a voluntary list. You put your name on that list. In case there is a natural disaster, you remember that horrible October snowstorm we had? Everybody lost power, and it was terrible. Well, they will come out to your home and check on you. Maybe you don't have family that knows to check on you, or and they are going to be doing that here in this town, but right now they do have it in Avon, Berlin, Burlington, Canton, Farmington, New Britain, and Plainville, and hopefully soon to be, from what I understand, here in Bristol. Taxi and livery service, not a lot available here. You have Valley Cab, which goes by many names, and many, many names. But that's really what you have here. Now, there is a service called AmRide that will take your vehicle, so they'll drop off a vehicle, they'll drop off the driver, and they'll drive you around in your vehicle and charge you for that. Or there's Uber, and I'll talk about Uber with you. There's a website called taxifarefinder.com, which will find you the taxi, give you estimates on the fares. And if you ever have a problem with a cab driver, you can call me. I can make a formal complaint for you with the Department of Transportation. I just did it for somebody last week. And they will look into that. So, does everyone know what Uber is? Okay, not everyone. Uber is a service. You have to have a smartphone to use Uber. So it's an app you put on your phone. As I said, I have cards over there that will give you your first ride for free up to $20. So you get the app, you download it. You can also do it on your computer now. And you set where you want to go. It will pick up your location, or you could change your pickup location if you're not at that location. It will give you a fare estimate to let you know how much it's going to cost. It is less than the cab. It's less than Valley Cab. And all the drivers, once they have that app turned on, they receive insurance, additional insurance, so you're covered in case you get injured in any way. The vehicles are pretty nice vehicles. They have standards for the vehicles. You can see exactly where that vehicle is when it's coming to pick you up. As I said, it shows you a picture of the driver before the driver comes, the license plate. It gives you a rating on the driver. They'll also rate you as passengers. And if you get bad ratings, they'll kick you off. They won't let you use it. And if they get bad ratings, they get kicked off. They do a background check on them, and they do a so they do a criminal background check and a motor vehicle background check on the drivers. And I do use it when we go out. We use it because it's so easy. You don't have to park. But if you're ever in a jam, please take the cards there. Use it anytime. It doesn't expire for a good year. And you want to know something? It says it's expired, but it really doesn't. You can use that code, which is Way to Go CT, and get $20 on your first ride for free.
Do you have a calling card?
Do I have a calling card? Yeah, all my information is on the resource table. So vehicle rentals in this area. I wanted to let you know that these vehicle rental agencies all are either have hand controls or accept mobility devices they have ramps that you can rent vehicles that have wheelchair ramps, or even with Hertz or Enterprise, you can call in advance and they'll get you a vehicle with hand controls. So if you know somebody who needs that. You can purchase or lease vehicles through these companies, and just wanted to let you know about that. So I don't know if you've ever heard of car sharing. Car sharing is something that is new to this area. They do not have it in Bristol yet, but they do have it in many, many different cities. They do have it in Hartford and New Haven and West Hartford. So what it is, it's car sharing. So you sign up with them, right? And you say you want to rent a car for an hour. It's $9 an hour. You can rent a car for $9 an hour. You'll have all the gas. It will be gassed up, insured. You go to the location where the vehicle is, and you put in your card, and there's gas in the car, and you're ready to go. And you just bring it back to that location. They have it in major cities, like all over New York. There's hundreds and hundreds of them. There's not a lot here, but they're working on it. They're working on bringing it here. So you can rent it by the hour or the day. I am on Facebook and Twitter. I'm not so much on Twitter, but Facebook. I have 470 likes now, I think, something like that. I update it with information on transportation, whatever is going on in transportation, on a daily basis. So if you're interested, like me on Facebook, or like my Facebook page, and you will get updates on whatever is going on within my area, or that pertains to this area that has to do with transportation. And as I said, once or twice a day I put something up there. So in review, I am the free resource to help you find out about your transportation options. One-stop shop with the website, waytogoct.org. I do survey on gaps and barriers, although at this moment my survey is closed. Soon to be opening a new survey, which will be online as well. I share that with the Connecticut Department of Transportation, as I said. So I do the social media updates. I am the ombudsman, so I'll advocate on your behalf. And I do all this public outreach. So, thank you. All right, thank you. Well, thank you.